Okay, I'm going to work problem 8.8a. This is on page 308, 309 in your textbook. It is work paper 273. Okay, on 8.8a says Donald Chin works for Northwest Supplies. His rate of pay is $8.50 per hour, and he is paid 1.5 times the regular rate for all hours worked in excess of 40 per week. During the last week of January of the current year, he worked 48 hours. Chin is married and claims 3 withholding allowances on his W-4 form. His weekly wages are subject to the following deductions. Employee federal income tax, which you use the wage bracket method. That's on page 288, 289 in your textbook. Social Security and Medicare, we have talked about those when we went over the chapter. Those percentages are the same each time. Health insurance premium, he has $85 withheld. He also has $125 withheld for a credit union and a $10 United Way contribution. So with this information, they are asking for us to compute his regular pay, overtime pay, gross pay, and net pay, and then journalize the payment of his wages for the week ended January 31st, crediting cash for the net amount. Okay, so first we need to calculate his pay, his regular pay, gross pay, and overtime pay. Okay, so it says that he makes $8.50 an hour, and that he's paid time and a half for any hours worked in excess of 40. This week, he worked 48 hours. So he would have 40 regular hours and 8 overtime hours. Okay, so we'll go to our work paper. So we're going to calculate the regular pay and the overtime pay. So his regular hours worked were 40, and his overtime hours worked were 8. Now, if you remember, his regular rate of pay, they said, was $8.50 an hour. His overtime rate of pay is going to be $8.50 times 1.5. So in other words, his overtime rate of pay is $12.75 an hour. So then we can calculate. His regular earnings would be 40 times $8.50. So his regular earnings would be $3.40. His overtime earnings would be 8 hours times the $12.75. So his overtime earnings were $102. When we add those together, we get his total earnings, or his gross pay, $442. So I'm going to come over here and label that as gross pay. Okay, and then we're going to have to look at our deductions. Remember, they do not get to take home all that they earned. We have to withhold out certain things. So the first thing that we have to withhold is federal income tax. Okay, now to compute federal income tax, we use the chart, the wage bracket chart, which normally found in a circular E, but in our textbook, it's on pages 288, 289. What you need to know to determine federal income tax is, first off, you need to know marital status. So he's married. You need to know how many allowances, 3 withholding allowances. And you need to know how much his gross pay. So his gross pay for this week was $442. So with that information, you can go to the table. Now again, there's tables on pages 288 and 289. 288 is for single persons. 289 is for a married person. So since he is married, we need to be on page 289. So his gross wages were $442. So we need to look and determine where that falls. And it's going to fall in that line right there, because this says at least 440 but less than 450. So that is where 442 would fall. At least 440 but less than 450. And then he had 3 withholding allowances. So we come across to the top and find the column for 3 withholding allowances. So this is our column. And where do they intersect? You can see they intersect here. And so the amount of withholding tax for Chen for this week would be $5. Okay, so again, the federal income tax withholding will be $5. Okay, and then the next type of withholding is going to be the Social Security tax. And remember that Social Security tax is 6.2% times the gross wages. There is a limit of $118,500, but in this problem it's January and he's making $400 a week, so we know he's not anywhere near that limit. So we know that all of his wages, $442, is going to be taxable for Social Security. So $442 times the 6.2% is going to give us Social Security tax of $27.40. Okay, then we must calculate the Medicare tax. Remember that Medicare tax is 1.45% times the gross wages, and there is no limit for that. So 442 times the 1.45% is going to give us Medicare tax of $6.41. And then he has some voluntary deductions, and these will be different for each person. He has health insurance withheld. They told us his health insurance was $85. They told us that his credit union deduction was $125, and they told us that he had a United